Tyson Fury, man, is got to be the craziest dude on the planet, man. This dude claims that he, as a white man, suffers from racism. Let's talk about that in this video. Yeah, this dude just doesn't understand, man. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel, subscriber. And we're going to talk today about Tyson Fury and the fact that in his response to all the stuff that is going on in the world that we know about, that I'm not going to mention specifically, Mr. Floyd, Mr. Aubrey, those type of things, and all of us, the congregations going on around the world. Before I get into that, though, I want to say thank you again very, very much for continuing to support the channel, watching these videos, during a time when a lot of the world's focus is on something else. But, here at Fanon International Boxing, man, we're going to bring you the boxing every day and hopefully be able to lighten your heart with something, other than the real heavy, significant stuff that's going on in the world. So we're just going to keep on chugging. And in this particular time, I want to say thank you to everybody that supports the channel as a subscriber, in the Patreon, and in the live streams. Now, Tyson Fury says that he, as a white man, suffers from racism and has experienced racism. Now, why would he say that? He is a member of a community in Europe, and I suspect that the community might be in the United States as well, called travelers or gypsies or Roma. You'll hear a bunch of different names for it, but it is an ethnic group that has, without a doubt, suffered at the hands of the majority of people outside of their ethnic community in Europe, right? You hear about it all over. You've heard about it for a long time. If you've not looked it up, it's a very, very real thing, right? So I have to say that first before I tell Tyson Fury to shut up, okay? So Tyson Fury says that he has gone to restaurants and somebody said, hey, because you are a gypsy or a Roma, you cannot come in here, right? That type of stuff. And so without a doubt, I'm sure that he and people around him have had difficulties in that regard. Along the same lines as, say, at least from the outside looking in, right? Because this channel is about my opinion and what I've observed. If there's something that somebody can share with me that would enlighten me, hey, I'm more than open to hear it, right? But it sounds to me and it looked to me similar to what Jewish people would go through in the United States prior to the civil rights movement, right? Prior to the civil rights movement. Clearly, there were clubs that they could not join, jobs that they could not have, a reputation, stigma, stereotypes and things put on them. And because I remember as a child, that the person that got the heat the most after me, right, was the kid of a from a Hebrew faith, right? So I understand that there are definitely, and I've seen the same thing. Irish people have the same, not necessarily, I'm just using this example, but people having Germans having problems with Italians and Italians having problems. There's a lot of that stuff that goes on in Europe. And one of the things about the travelers, from what I understand, is that they don't necessarily have a nation state. So they go from one area to another, and they're more like more nomadic than say Italian, what an Italian is who's set in a particular geographic area, right? So from my understanding, from what I've seen, gypsies were treated a lot like, the Jewish people were treated in the United States, which, prior to 1965. And if you listen to them, they still maintain that it goes on today. Okay. So obviously there are those type of things that take place. And I don't want in this video in any way, shape or form to say that I belittle that. Now, with that said, I think that it's highly inappropriate thing to say, because those are two different things. It's two different levels. It's two different experiences. And him saying that, to me, Just if you listen to the videos that I did before, the Patreon videos that did then where I talked about it really, and I was much more unfiltered about it on there, that a lot of the people that are using, I believe that there's a lot of people that are using the struggle of that Black people in America experience on a daily basis, on a minute by minute basis, if you actually think about it, on a minute by minute basis, day by day, week by week, month by month, for centuries now here. They're using that as a way to talk about, as a way to say, hey, yeah, this is what happened to Mr. Floyd. Well, we have to solve this problem because they need to solve the problem for everybody, right? Now, there's nothing wrong with that. However, there's multiple people in that, in that coalition for lack of a better way, right? So you have union workers. White union workers have definitely been oppressed by large capitalists, without a doubt, but they're not a victim of racism. Okay, they are a victim of something else, but they are not a victim of they're not a victim of racism. They're not a target of racism. That doesn't. And if you listen to guys like Paulie Malignaggi, who comes from that section of people, racism doesn't even exist, right? To guys like Paulie Malignaggi, who never see it and actively participate in it, in my opinion. So when you look at Tyson Fury saying this, it's essentially the same thing. That's how I receive it. I am sure that it upset Tyson Fury that he could go into a restaurant and somebody would say, no, go away. Or there could have been situations where there was violence committed against his community. I don't doubt that. I haven't done the research on it, but I don't doubt it. And I'm assuming that there has been for the sake of this conversation. But what I know is that there is a significant difference from Tyson Fury, where Tyson Fury says that he has experienced racism when he's a white man. No, you did not. You experienced something else. Because what you can do is just not tell them. I read enough articles about travelers and what they said. And there was an article came out maybe last year that I read this morning because I wanted to just get a sense of it, right? And here's some of the other testimonies about that from people in that community. And what they would say is that if you looked at them, people a lot of times don't know they are. They don't know they are unless they know where they live, they know who they're around, and they announce themselves as that. That is not the scenario that we go through. What we go through, or people with this in their skin go through it on sight. No matter what you do, you cannot walk into a Catholic church and not have people immediately know that you're there. Oh, there's one. You stand out literally like a sore thumb. So the idea that he experiences the same thing, or that it's a joke. And to put it on top of George Floyd. Now, if he was paying, and I've heard him speak about this before, so it's not anything that he just pulled out of his backside, right? This is something that was a legitimate concern. You actually could hear Deontay Wilder say the same thing about Tyson Fury prior to they're ever having a fight. And what Deontay Wilder said was, hey man, the guy that really put the UK boxing, heavyweight boxing on the map is Tyson Fury. But Tyson Fury's not supported in the UK because he's a gypsy and all that stuff. So there's a bunch of stuff in there that's really keeping these people supporting him. So I don't doubt that he has experienced a phenomenon of injustice, because truth be told, Tyson Fury is a terrific fighter. However, I don't know necessarily if his lack of support in the UK had to do with that, as much as it had to do with him testing positive for performance-enhancing drugs right after he won the title, and not fighting again for another 2 years. That could be considered him actually having done something that was disgraceful to the UK. I think it's disgraceful to UK boxing what happened with Tyson Fury. So maybe that was what it is. But so at the end of it, I don't want to. I'm not going to dismiss what he's gone through, what travelers have gone through. Without a doubt, that It has not been easy, and I'm sure it continues not to be easy. You look at the history of Europe in that area, there's all kind of drama between Catholics and Protestants, issues between the British and the Irish, all the stuff going on where, the shift from Catholicism, to being Protestant, a Protestant nation, all of those type of things really do come into play, and they are significant things, man. But it's not like this, man. It's not like a little 12-year-old, like you got a 12-year-old kid just sitting there with a toy gun and the police just run by and mow him down and don't nobody care. Okay, that's just, it's extreme here. It's extreme. So to equate the two, I think is tacky. And hey, man, you need to back up off of that, man. You know what I mean? Say that you understand it. You can understand what that's like because of the discrimination that you suffered, right? Discrimination. But discrimination is not racism. Anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And I appreciate you listening and supporting the channel. And we're going to keep chopping it up about boxing. And hey, man, we'll tie all of the dramatic world into the conversations, because I think that it is an excellent tool to discuss both topics, the world and, relationships between human beings and boxing at the same time. But anyway, it is what it is. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And to anybody who might be a gypsy or a Roma or a traveler, please excuse me that I do not understand in depth, the plight of that community. But it's not our plight, and it comes off like a piggyback. Anyway, it is what it is. And with that, I'm out. Peace.